Traders, I'm excited to share with you several fresh ideas that I believe, as always, hold the potential to make significant directional moves this week. And also, as always, I'm going to be sharing my exact trade plans, my thought process around these ideas, including my entry and exit targets. Just before I do that, a very quick reminder. Um, as the market continues to make new highs, I think that it could be very easy to get into the mindset of everything's overbought, everything's a short. Now, if you remember, as I said last week, um, I don't want to be the one that's stepping in front of a freight train and trading bias instead of price action, for example. So the ideas and setups that I shared last week with you and the weeks leading up to it, they continue to work in this environment. For example, the breakout in snow from last week had great follow through. The idea in Mara had momentous follow through and great directional momentum. Last week, PLTR and ARM, they also offered powerful continuation moves post earnings. So as long as these setups continue to work, as long as we're in an environment that is favoring these setups, that's where my attention is going to be from a swing point of view week to week, because it's going to be obvious when things change. And when they do change, that's when it will be time to react accordingly and adjust plans and swing plans. But until then, let's just stick to what's working. So that being said, let's go over some of my favorite ideas and swing ideas for the upcoming week, starting with a breakout setting up in Netflix. So the first two ideas here, I have Netflix and then Meta. They're pretty straightforward, and really they're a carbon copy of the breakout that we saw play out on Friday in Amazon. So with Netflix, my exact plan in Netflix is that, well, first of all, starting with it, I like that multiple time frames align here, right? If we go to the hourly chart, we can see that multiple time frames are aligning, and that ticks the main box for this particular setup, along with a contracting range, favorable risk reward, and upward momentum. So it meets the criteria for breakout continuation swing long. And it's very similar to previous ideas that I shared with you last year in the previous earnings season, like the long idea in CLEH, DraftKings. So let's suppose that the market remains strong, or Netflix displays relative strength on a particular day this week, and it breaks over resistance on the hourly time frame. So we break over and we come into this high 560s, 570 region where this red arrow is drawn, and we spend time above that area with authority. So in that case, depending on the entry setup, that's when I'm going to look to get long with a stop placed either at the low of the day or below the most recent low intraday if we've developed an uptrend intraday and we're holding above the volume weighted average price. Now, my first target to trim a light portion of that position to cover some risk and raise my stop to the previous higher low, that's going to be around 580. After that, with a move toward 600, that's going to be the ultimate target for me, the ultimate target that I have in mind. But I'm going to look to cover a significant portion of my position, up to half of my position, from over a 1 ATR up move from the breakout level. So that's going to be toward 580, 585, which would measure a full ATR move kind of in between these two arrows that are drawn within that. So over the previous breakout post-earnings high, that's the area that I'm interested in. The remainder of the position, that's going to be very tightly trailed. And I'm going to be trailing that using intraday higher lows on the 15-minute chart. And as soon as the stock makes higher highs, that's when I'm going to be scaling out of my position. So I'm going to be holding the rest of it quite conservatively, with the ultimate lofty target in mind being 600, where that final arrow is drawn. So either that will be achieved or I'll be stopped out on the remainder of that position. So following on from that, and a very similar idea is going to be in Meta. And in Meta, very similar to the above plan, similar setup, similar momentum. And like I said, I think it's a carbon copy of the breakout in Amazon. But one also has to remember, and a little note of caution here, is that because of how extended Meta is right now from its rising 200-day, how elevated the RSI is, it is indicating overbought territory. My time frame here will be a full day to maybe a 1.5 days should the breakout occur. I'm not going to look to overstay my welcome here. And so once the position does work, if it works, I'm going to trail it very tightly using intraday VWAP, volume weighted average price. And specifically, if we begin to hold below that, that's when I'll manually trim my position. But what's my exact plan for Meta? So very similar to the plan in Netflix. Regarding overall strength of the market, I would like that to be existent. Or I would like Meta to be showing some great relative strength to the overall market. I'm going to be looking for a move above Friday's high. Again, this also aligns on multiple time frames. So if we go over to the hourly time frame, I would like a move where this red arrow is drawn above that move, spend some time, hold with authority, and get some support developed between 474, 475, 476 within that region. So with all of that being met in an intraday uptrend form, that's when I'm going to look to get long with a stop placed either below the intraday high or low or the low of day, similar to Netflix. The first target is going to be the high of the earnings gap. So that's going to be near this 486 region where this red arrow is drawn. And after that, I'm going to look to get down to half of my position, towards a full ATR measured move from that breakout area. So that's going to put it at around near 490, which would be the second target. And thereafter, very similar carbon copy to Netflix, trail my stop in the same fashion, with the whole number psychological level 500 being the ultimate target. Either I achieve that or I get stopped out, but risk and profit would have been locked in already at that point. Now, the next idea is going to be different. This is going to be a backside swing short. I'm looking for pops to short in stocks that are on their backside in HKIT, in TOP, in MLGO. So what I'm going to do is just have a bunch of alerts set for these in case we get back into areas that I'm interested in. But why am I focused on these stocks? Well, there were fireworks last week with small cap, low float Chinese stocks, as Holo, this really swung higher, squeezing shorts Wednesday and Thursday. And that move, as it always does in the small cap space, it brought with it a lot of sympathy plays. So those are the names that I'm interested in now. Typically, it's a bit easier for me to be able to manage risk and be reactive to the main stock, which is Holo, the head of the snake, if you will. So as the craziness has subsided, a lot of these stocks have given back the majority of their moves. I've alerts set, like I said, in case they pop back up into potential areas of supply, of overhead, previous failure areas, resistance levels, where I think that they would be likely to fail from. So it's very similar to previous setups. If you recall that I shared last year with you, TTOO was one, CYTO was another. There are many examples. So I have alerts set in several names, and again, important to keep an eye on the leader, Holo, in case it does something that's not likely, but certainly could occur, i.e. squeeze on maybe a liquidity event and start to reclaim higher prices. But what's my exact plan? How would I look to trade this idea? Well, let's look at one of the names as an example. Let's take a look at TOP, TOP. And what are my exact thoughts here? For example, how I would like to play this idea out, and really it can be applied to all of the names that I've already mentioned. I'd be interested in shorting TOP if we were to push back into a potential area of supply. So if we pushed back into this 550 region acting as support, potentially going to be a big level of resistance in the week ahead. 550 into 6 into what will become the 2-day VWAP 630s. That's where I'm going to look for the stock to push up into, because I see that as a significant area of overhead. Most of the volume has been traded within that area. If you're long, you're underwater. If you're short, you're holding comfortably. So I would expect for a move back into 556 into the 2-day VWAP that will be developing to be met with a lot of supply. So if we get a push back into this region and we fail and we get a nice intraday level to risk against, that's where I would look to get short with a stop above that high. And then I would look to take off half of my position toward the mid to low fours. That's going to be the first target. The remainder of the position I'm going to look to hold for a move back to really where the stock has come from on no news, just as a sympathy play. And that's going to be 4 sub 4 into 350 into this region. A position which I think could play out, 1.5 to 2 days. And so those are the top ideas for this week. Let me know if you think I've missed anything that you think is actually setting up for a great swing opportunity. Let me know if you're also watching the stocks that I have on my watch list, but maybe you have different entry criteria or different exits in mind. I'd love to hear. And any adjustments that you're making in the market environment that you think could be valuable, not only to share with me, but the trading community, feel free to drop that in the comments too. All All right, guys. Well, good luck for this week. It should be an eventful and exciting week. And I will see you all here next week.
So you're an active trader, not doing as well as you want, not doing as well as you deserve, and you just can't figure out why you can't become profitable no matter how hard you try. Well, let me show you why. This is your competition. The traders in this room. This room right here is full of elite traders, some of whom are making 7 and even 8 figures a year. In fact, our top guys have made nearly 20 million each in net trading profits in a single year. Let's head to my office so I can share more. So you're probably used to seeing videos of lavish trader lifestyles, trading gurus trading off of a laptop for an hour a day, heck, maybe even 15 minutes a day, and then them relaxing on some secluded beach for the rest of the day. Well, all I can tell you is that our traders train like pro athletes. They live and breathe the markets and are continually working on their trading skills. Because at our firm, that's what we've found it really takes to make it in this game. I'm Mike Bellafiore, co-founder and managing partner of SMB Capital, one of the world's top proprietary trading firms located in Midtown Manhattan. And we're always looking for trading talent to hire and develop. And not just to trade in-house on our desk, but also to trade from their own home, entirely using our firm's capital. And we have numerous traders doing just that, allowing them to make upwards of 7 figures trading the firm's capital without risking their own money. But to even get a shot at something like that, you need to have the right training. That's why we're doing a new free online presentation in which we share how you can get an interview with SMB to become an in-house or remote trader, trading firm capital without risking yours and gaining access to all of our firm's coaching and resources. And the best part, you don't have to be a profitable trader yet. In fact, we prefer to mold profitable traders with our methods and our techniques. That's why we have just 3 simple criteria that can earn anyone an interview. We're looking for highly ambitious and determined traders who fit our culture first and foremost. So if you believe that could be you, sign up for the free 1-hour online presentation by clicking the link that's in your top right corner of your screen now.